All right, so here we are today with another wonderful daily upload. And, today we have this beautiful, beautiful thumbnail because the topic of today is I want to build a boat, and here's what I want it to look like. Not specifically like what I believe to be the Titanic, but I want to build a cool boat, and so here's the video about my boat and what I want it to look like. Utilization in games. This boat may require a dedicated counselor to pilot, which is kind of a pain. And really, because it is such a pain, I do not want to burden any other counselor with this terrible plight. So the person who would be stuck with it would probably just be me. Essentially, during that day, there are a couple of different things I could do for the different campers, but I would pretty much be on the boat the whole time during games or whenever the boat was in use. And so all of the content for that day would pretty much just be me on the boat recording everywhere the boat went and who got on and off. And the really cool stuff, depending on sort of like the landing sites, we'd have to do a lot of boating around while campers weren't there to figure out where we could dock and where we could get to. But if there was a certain place where I could like watch a battle happening from the water on the coast, that would be super cool. And if there was someone who was confident enough in my boating skills that they would like capture a flag or something and then hop on the boat and then we go dock to dock. And so it would be this this group of people running up onto the boat and then us sailing off, and then all of the adversaries following along the shore as the boat moved from dock to dock. Like we've thought a lot about the ramifications of allowing people to bring flags on boats and like missiles from the actual boat or to the boat from the shore and what that would all look like. That would be one way of getting campers on board, ferrying between dock to dock during the actual game events. But if that didn't happen, I would still absolutely love if there was some sort of secondary game event, perhaps something in the afternoon, where the actual event would be outside of normal games, but it would be some group of people on the boat or potentially multiple boats, depending on our financial and logistical purposes. But some other secondary game mode involving all these boats that we'd be building. But we're just going to start with one and build something really cool. And hopefully, its first utilization in games would be some dock to dock sort of mid capture the flag utilization. So that's essentially how I think it could start to be used in games before it gets turned into an actual game mode in of itself. So a phrase that kind of gets tossed at me a lot is it depends on what you're going for, which is a very good statement. And so this is what I'm going for. Here's what it is. Essentially, the boat that I'm envisioning is essentially a 5+ person capacity sitting comfortably on the main deck, perhaps on benches or perhaps just on the platform of the deck. It would be a powered boat, so we wouldn't have to put oars in all these kids' hands because these kids are not really capable of producing all that many pounds of forward thrust. So we'd probably have an electric motor with either a very large battery capacity or solar rechargeability. Solar rechargeability seems to not actually be that infeasible for the long-term like energy lifespan of a boat. So we could keep sailing around for several hours and just sort of going slow or stopping in some spots, waiting for us to recharge before we could keep off and going again. Speaking of keeping off and going again, the ability for the occupants of the boats to embark and disembark very quickly, either on or off of land or on or off of watercrafts. What would be really, really cool if we did have some sort of secondary naval game mode is the ability for certain smaller crafts to raid other larger crafts. So like small little boats paddling up on either side of a large boat and like hooking onto it or lassoing it in some way, and then being able to board the larger boat and do battle with the combatants on the boat. And then, of course, the boat has to be able to move at some speed. So it can go pretty slow, and I don't actually care. But being able to move, generally speaking, a deployment of people from one place to another in a reasonable time scale, and the faster that reasonability is, the nicer. It doesn't need to be a speedboat, but if it can get from place to place quickly, that is a very large plus. So these are a lot of requirements, and I feel like I could probably build something, but I would not be able to build a boat perhaps to the quality that all of these requirements entail. So to turn this into reality, we've turned to the amateur professionals, my wonderful, wonderful amateur professional shipbuilder. He has more than a fifth of a decade of experience of boat building. He maybe went to AIC a couple of years ago, maybe. I'm pretty sure my amateur professional shipbuilder was the first camper in the realm to use Plasticor in armor construction. And he can also deadlift 500 pounds, he chose to add. And you will perhaps see him in videos in a couple of weeks because I intend to make videos about the construction of this boat, construction and then first testing. But you will also hear him on speakerphone here at 2 a.m. as I'm recording this. So
right about now, yes. I'm
my...
here. We apologize for the lack of audio quality, but we just couldn't be bothered because it's kind of late. So this one's kind of a low, high speed maneuver going on here. But anyway, I'm here to talk over the construction plans for the boat. So Grayson already went over the parameters. Basically, the design that I settled on, given these parameters and these desires, we're going to go with a pontoon. This is a very it's good for this type of thing because it's very stable. We can make it in a manner where it'll be very portable. It'll also be relatively easy to construct since we don't have to deal with actually making anything waterproof. We just have to collect things that are lighter than water and collect a lot of it together and hold it in place. So it's also easy and cheap to construct. So we're planning to construct it out of extruded polystyrene, like insulation foam, Gorilla glued together in a bunch of layers. The pontoons will be about 16 feet wide, about a foot tall, and about 15 feet long. And then the two pontoons will be held together by 3 deck sections. That'll basically just be a piece of plywood and some 2x4s framed like a wall. And that'll give you a deck area of approximately 90 square feet. So about a little under 8 feet by a little under 12 feet because we'll have to cut them down for transport reasons. So that's the general method of construction. And this isn't something I just pulled out of thin air like last week. It's something I pulled out of thin air more like 6 months ago because I've actually built a boat like this. Grayson, if you go to the next slide, there's a nice image. And this was up 2 slides ago. That was a real picture of me standing on it on the water, proving it actually kind of works. Grayson just did his AIC doctoring to that image, though. But anyway, here's a more unedited image. This is what the boat looked like. So this is much smaller, obviously, than the one we'll be building for AIC. The dimensions, this is about a 10-foot long boat, and it's probably just about 5 feet wide. So this new boat will be 5 feet longer and 4 feet wider. So quite a significant increase in size. This boat that I built here, sort of for a different use case. So as you can notice, the deck is very, very small. Because this boat was made to enter a solar boat race, and so I didn't really care about comfort. I more cared about keeping the weight low and all that stuff. So, but as you can see, it's the same construction technique. So this is just stacked layers of R10 insulation foam, Gorilla glued together, and then we have a deck that kind of holds the two pieces together. So all we'll really be doing is making much larger pontoons. They're also going to be less foldable. These ones go into 3 segments that are 4 feet and 2 feet. And these ones for cardboard camp will be 2 8-foot sections. And so, you'll get a lot larger of a piece to deal with than this boat had. So yeah, that's kind of a basic look at the plan. I think we're hoping to be beginning construction in early July of this year. So, we got a bit left, but it should be happening relatively soon. Grayson, do you have any closing thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm super excited that I actually get this amateur professional shipbuilder who's able to deadlift 500 pounds. I think we're going to make some good content together. I am not necessarily confident in my personal ability to make this boat, and so I'm much assured by this more than a fifth of a decade of boat building experience. I think we're going to make something really cool, and I really hope we can get some content out of it. Again, like I was saying, even if it isn't used in an actual game like week, because I have a lot of weeks coming up back to back to back pretty soon. I would absolutely love to have some sort of weekend event where we invite other campers out to have some sort of nautical battle on the waters somewhere or other.
Yeah.
I think that would be a very exciting event, or perhaps a secondary event like after games, like in the afternoon or something like that. It'll see use before the end of before the end of the year. Mark my words. So, yeah, I think that's it for us today. Thanks for stopping by for another daily upload for Adventures in Cardboard stuff. As always, their website, Instagram, and YouTube. Today, the merch I'm promoting is again the Sanglier, the Cahodec House of Sanglier. I don't actually know how to say that word. Anyway, they got good merch. It's all on the website. All of it goes towards scholarships to help kids whose families are not able to actually pay enough to go to the camp themselves. So it's all for a good cause. Purchase it, please. The more kids that go to AIC camp, the more kids we can have come on our boat, and the more boats we can have, because we would like some camp funding for some of these if we're going to build more than just one. So, yep, that's it for us today. Thanks for stopping by. Have any finishing remarks?
No.
All right, you heard it from the man. That's it for us. Thanks, and I'll see you later.